The Molecular Immunology Regenerative Medical Center, or MiMMO, is a specialist center for molecular immunology and regenerative medicine in the Philippines. MiMMO offers a unique transformational center that offers the most advanced molecular medical technology which treats degenerative conditions and a multitude of chronic diseases including cancer that is fully personalized to ensure patient recovery. Mr. Alfonso Maria Ricardo Colaico is the founder director of MiMMO. Mr. Colaico is a seasoned entrepreneur of over 3 decades. His interests and advocacies are dynamic as they are broad in scope, from biodynamic farming, education, estate, and tax compliance consultancy. The MiMMO Center is the latest brainchild and advocacy of Mr. Colaico. It is a center-based clinic that provides the latest technologies for the most complex of health issues to the simple everyday nutritional drip needed to fight stress in lifestyle-oriented illnesses.
Okay, so I graduated from the College of Social Sciences and Philosophy in UP. Alright, so you might wonder, that's beg the question, what is a philosophy graduate doing in business? More so, what is he doing in a high-tech initiative? Okay. I've always had an interest in belief systems. Still a need for me. I still want to push the envelope more. What other high-tech stuff can I go into? All right. So the universe replied, okay, and it responded by probably guiding me towards a lifestyle that did not support my natural facilities for maintaining homeostasis, in other words, balance. So I found myself very ill. No doctor could fix it. Not here. Not even in the US, not even in Europe, not even in Asia. I had what was then, that's about some good 10 years ago, a condition classified as a GOK. That's an acronym for God Only Knows. And that's doctor speak for, I don't know what the hell to do with you. I don't know what drug to give you because nothing works, right? So I had what was called fibromyalgia. And back then, it was an undistinguished condition. So, then came the serendipitous moment. I met somebody who I helped out, who led the way to meeting the owner of this high-tech company called Adistem. Adistem is an Australian company, molecular biology company. And they were the ones who introduced into the world autologous stem cell therapy from adipose derived tissue. I mean, it was surreal. Within 24, 48 hours, all the colors came back. Initially, I lost weight, but I gained it all back, right? Because now I could enjoy life again. I could taste the food again. I could feel again. So everything started to change again. But the pain still, there was residual pain that remained with me for quite some time. That then led me further into inquiry. What else is missing? I'm in the stem cell business. What else is missing? So that led me to studying physiology, led me to studying preventive medicine, led me to being trained into nutrigenomics using DNA profiling. That's where we are today. Think of an idea, articulate it, bring it into fruition, and have it impact and help people. And that's now what I've distinguished for myself is why I've been in very technical fields, because I believe in my belief system consciously that I look into fields that are disruptive because I want to wake people up. I want to wake people up. I want people to realize, hey, there's a better way of living. Right? There's a better way of living. So even today, we're a very deep molecular immunology unit. We help people through DNA. We help DNA profiling, nutrigenomics, all of this. But it's all still very material. And what I've found is for patients who are not as receptive to the programs, I go back to their belief systems. I bring consciousness there. I grew up in a garage. My mother and her siblings had a taxi business back in the day. So I was exposed to cars as a very young age. I was still a grade school student. We were rebuilding those engines. We were grinding the valves, refitting them with piston rings, rebuilding those 2R engines by Toyota, firing them up again. So that definitely had an influence. I mean, the first 7 years of your life is the foundation of your belief system.
Yes.
First 7
I
years.
agree. I agree, sir.
So, and that's supported by neuroscience. So basically, bring consciousness from now until you're 35, because when you're 35, basically you have a set personality. But again, it's not a sentence, because your journey from this day on forward, if you just bring consciousness into your consciousness, what you think, how you think, why you choose, why you act, react, and emote the way you do, you bring consciousness into that, you can alter your belief system. That's why I remember I fondly remember this line in the movie by Paul. What's the name of this rock star who was a good friend of Lady Diane, who recently had a movie, Rocket Man.
Elton John, sir.
Elton
John, sir.
Who's directed? No. Was it Elton John?
Yes, sir.
Elton John. Rocket Man is Elton.
Yeah.
Right. So I remember in one of his conversations, he was talking to his black friend, and he said, "You've got to kill, all right, the guy who was born in order to give birth to the guy who wants to live."
Cool.
Right? In other words, you gotta kill your old belief systems. Our parents were here, and I teach this actively to my children. Look, I'm giving you a structure for your belief system, but on the day you set your own path beyond my doors, you've got to forget all this. This is just here as a structure for you, but then you have to figure it all out according to who you really are and what consciousness you build for yourself, because that defines who you are at the end of the day. So now we are engaging government agencies for this purpose, but more so, it has always been. I mean, business has always been a private initiative. So I always collaborate with like in the medical business, you cannot not collaborate with doctors, nurses. So I have two key nurses who are both surgical nurses. In other words, they are nurses who actually perform duties inside operating rooms, open surgeries. So that's their level. They're not the usual nurses who just pick a needle and that sort of stuff, right? Stay by your bedside when you're busy. No, these are very deep, well experienced nurses. So there's a lot of collaborative effort, and of course there's a lot of collaborative effort in different organizations as well, because today the name of the game is really networking. Collaboration is key. But to be very candid, since I graduated philosophy, I have no background in management, I have no background in accounting, I have no background in any of this stuff. I go by my gut feel. I have an idea. I talk to people, what do you think of this idea? You think it'll help? You think, oh, that sounds like a great idea. Then I purchase. If it's an item, if it's a product, I purchase. If it's a service, I test the service. If it clicks, experience is good, has potential, overall feel, done. I initiate. That's essentially what I do.
It's basically a trial and error kind of approach.
Yes, very much. I think there's a lot. When you see people transform right before your eyes. I have a client who came in here, is about 5'3", 5'4". He's obese. He's an engineer. His cholesterol levels were out of the charts. His how do you call this? His fat markers were really off the charts as well. His visceral fat was really high. Blood pressure wasn't stable. Name it, he had it. His sugar levels were very unstable as well. All that was stabilized within 6 months. Not
Kidding.
a single drop.
Oh, how did you guys help him?
Genetic profiling. Because our genetic profiling technology is very unique in that we focus on panels of genes, right, that contribute to three main factors to any symptomatology. There's inflammation, there's oxidative stress, and there's immune deficiency. Those three are always somewhat in the name of the game. So we focus on your panel of genes that tend to, your predisposition to, so we know exactly what genes to support from a standpoint of nutrigenomics and nutrition and nutrients to help those genes bring back homeostasis. Yeah.
You're willing to share.
First learning is humility. Dang, there's a lot of money. Right? Then you realize, look, that's not what life's about. Life's not about what you lose. Life's about what you gain. So if there's always one thing to gain about failed ventures is understanding or reflecting upon where the ego got in the way. That's the reality, right? We're egotistical, especially at a younger age.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah.
It's all about me. Then you realize life is way more than being just that's why you learn to network. You learn to realize that okay, this works, that doesn't work. And always get up, always get back on your feet. So what? So you lost a couple of million. Okay. And always remember, that's better education that you'll ever get from Harvard University or even in UP.
Experience.
Experience is the best teacher. I personally believe that government, the current government is doing what it can, right? What it can. My favorite, quote unquote, favorite government institution right now is the Bureau of Internal Revenue, because they are preventing this country from really achieving what's possible. Okay, and I have objective evidence how it's being perpetrated. It's an entire systematic thing, very systematic. The rules of the National Internal Revenue Code are reinterpreted in ways where if you're an unsuspecting businessman or citizen, it's like, ganun lang pala yun, wala akong magagawa. No! Hell no! If you know the rules, you can give it back to them. You're not getting away with this. And so that's what we do every time. So no, the impediment is never what's outside. The impediment is what's inside. Because at the end of the day, if I don't accept the bullshit, right, that means to say I'm going to find a way. And that's what entrepreneurship is about. It's never about what's in front of you. It's always about what would it be like? How can I? You always have to ask executive questions. What will it take? What would it be like? How can I, right, go beyond, transcend any barrier that you perceive? Go! First thought that comes to mind, go. Make it work. If people tell you, don't do it, thank you. All the more, do it.
Yeah.
Who will be the better judge? Who's the ultimate judge of whether or not you failed? It's you. No one else. No one else. As long as you do it within the bounds of the law. Right? I have a new project. I can kill people. You can't do that, right? But what I'm saying is, any initiative you want to invest your time in, go for it.